This is the FI After 40 podcast, a show where I dive into the FIRE movement to see what financial independence is all about. I'll share the steps I've taken to start my journey toward becoming financially independent, and along the way I'll bring in others who are on a path of their own. You'll hear stories and advice from people who have reached their version of FI, and from those like me who are still finding their way. This is a show for anyone who wants to learn, grow, and connect with others. This is FI After 40. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the FI After 40 podcast. My name's Ben, and I started this podcast to go alongside my blog on fiafter40.com. So I wanted to take a couple minutes and just give people an overview of what this podcast is all about and who's going to benefit from listening to it. So first, a little bit of an overview on my background. I live in New Hampshire. I grew up in the town that I actually live in now. I have moved around a bit. I've lived in Boston, New York City. I lived in LA for a while after college. And professionally, I've worked in higher education for about 16 years now. Most of that has been in the area of college admissions and financial aid. I'm a single father. I'm in my early 40s. I have 2 kids. My son will turn 10 this June, and my daughter will turn 8 in August. I love being outside, staying active. I'm also a big sports fan. Love all the Boston teams. Go Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics. Really anything Boston related, I'm a big fan of. So with the podcast, why did I start this? What am I doing with a podcast and a blog? Well, over the last couple of years, I've gone through some pretty significant changes in my life. Financially, I've had a history of kind of bad habits with money. Got into some pretty significant debt between credit cards, personal loans, mortgage, etc. I was also going through just general issues with my marriage, eventually got separated and later divorced. And around that time when the divorce went through, sold our house, I was probably in about $46,000 of debt at that point after selling the house. So, really worked hard to make some considerable changes with regards to my finances. And that's a lot about what this podcast is going to focus on. So me personally, I'm spending less. I'm saving a lot more for the first time in my life. I have a plan in place to grow my savings from basically 0 to 50% of my income over the next 10 years. That's my goal. I'm also on track to significantly increase my retirement after basically neglecting that for years. It was not something that I focused on at all, and that has become a big priority for me. I've learned a lot in the last year or so that I'm kind of pouring into this blog and this podcast. Whether it's investing in the stock market and retirement funds, learning about the FIRE movement, learning about real estate investing is a big area that I focused on. And then just generally shifting my mindset, becoming more positive and kind of goal-oriented and focused on my future. So my goal moving forward is to tell my story, provide advice to people, inspiration to people, really at all different points on the path to financial independence. So for those of you who are just starting on your path to financial independence, this should be a resource for you to really jumpstart your progress. I want to teach actionable takeaways, things that'll help you build momentum moving forward. For those of you who are already further along in your journey, you'll end up hearing from other people who share your passion. They're right there beside you on the path. So that kind of encouragement to keep you moving forward. I also plan on bringing in people who have already achieved financial independence so they can tell their story and really help inspire all of us, regardless of if you are brand new or well on your way. So I personally, I waited until I turned 40 to really begin this journey. If you're still in your 20s and 30s, I hope this inspires you to take action while you're still young. And if you're older, if you're my age or older, my hope is that, you learn that it's never too late to get started on this path. So for me, striving for financial independence isn't about hitting a money goal. It's really about striving for a better version of me, both financially and emotionally, personally across the board. So I'm really excited to have you along for the ride. I'm really thankful that you've chosen to spend some time here. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope you get to meet other members of the FI community and that this is a good experience for me, you, and everyone that's involved in it. So let's get to it. This is FI After 40. To read more about my story, be sure to follow me at FI After 40 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also subscribe to receive updates whenever new content goes up at fiafter40.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating and review. It makes a big difference. Thanks for listening.